What's up guys, it's Royal Scales. As you can see, I kind of forgot to record an intro, so that's a thing. But basically this is a side video for how I made my space helmet for my Among Us cosplay. At this point I haven't recorded the full costume yet because it's not done yet. But yeah, this is a side video for that costume. The link to the main video will be in the description, and that will have the links to all the other videos, so let's get on with it. So my helmet is just like a $30 to $40 helmet that I got off of Amazon. I will link it in the description below. To start off, I did have these little sticker patches of a flag and another little Space Explorer patch thing that I had to remove before I could move on with the process. For this part, I tried really hard. I did, but I could not for the life of me get the visor off, so I just kind of went Excuse me, I think I had a little mini stroke there for a second. So this next part, what I did was I took some acetone on some cotton pads just to remove the top layer of sealant, as well as the blue and orange paint that's on the helmet. You do want to be careful with this though, because depending on the plastic, it could eat away at the plastic, and that's what you don't want to happen. So maybe just do a little patch test. All else fails, just get a regular nail polish remover as opposed to acetone, because I mean it'll still have the same effect and it'll get the paint and stuff off just fine. As you can see here, that even with the acetone, it did still leave some orange and blue smears. I think that's from some of the sealant getting mixed in with the paint and me being very cautious to not have any plastic getting eaten away. I wouldn't worry too much about this though, because it will be sanded and painted and it becomes pretty much invisible later on anyway. I don't remember how rough my sandpaper was. I believe it was a 24 grit, but just as long as you have a pretty rough sandpaper, it should be able to get the job done and get the remaining sealant and paint off. Like I said, it doesn't come completely white in this little video clip thing, but it does get the job done and it comes off enough to where it's covered with the purple paint, so it's all good. As you can see here, the surface came pretty close to completely white. There are still a few little shiny spots that you can see that the sealant did not come completely off. This is because I ran out of acetone, which is why you can also see that big old gray rectangle in the back, is because that's the adhesive from where the flag was. Yeah, just covered up with paint. It's fine. The paint that I'm using is just a purple acrylic paint that is as close to the fabric as I felt like I could get. I got the fabric and the paint at the same time to ensure that they were almost, if not the exact same color. I did come pretty close with this, so I am pretty proud of it. I believe I ended up using 3 to 4 layers of paint and then sealant on top of that, which I just used Mod Podge. For the silver lining at the bottom of the helmet, I just used a metallic silver. This pretty much just goes on the helmet, and it did end up going on the bodysuit in a couple places. You really don't have to match it up with anything, just pick whatever kind of silver looks more like the look that you're trying to go for. Again, I believe this silver took me 3 to 4 coats as well, so just be patient, make sure all your paint dries between coats because you will mess it up and smear it, and it's pretty important that you make sure that your lines stay as clean as possible on this helmet because they will be very noticeable due to the shape and all the line work and edges and such. It'll be very noticeable if anything is out of place. Once you're done painting, go ahead and hit it with a couple of coats of sealant. My go-to sealant is always Mod Podge. For this one, I am using the satin finish because I wanted it to be shiny to match the PVC part of the costume, which is the under bodysuit, which you will see the video for later. I am working on it. It's coming. I am very behind. Also, I didn't film it because it was a major struggle, but as you can see, I did eventually get the visor off. As it turns out, it's held on by a couple of little clips on the inside, and if you just get some pliers, squeeze them together, and you kind of have to pull pretty hard, but the visor does come out pretty easily, and then once you're done, it'll pop right back in, no problem. For any of you thinking you might want to skip the sealant because you would like for it to be matte, this is not a recommendation by literally anyone, probably. You can get matte sealant. It's pretty much the exact same thing I'm using here. It looks the exact same thing, except for when it dries, it does not have that shine to it. However, if you don't use any sealant at all, your helmet is highly, highly, highly prone to get damaged because it can be scratched and chipped and all kinds of other stuff, and it's just not at all recommended to skip out on the sealant, especially on a project like this. Oh, stuck on my ponytail. There's a bendy here. So once you're all done, this is about what your helmet will look like depending on the color. For some reason it looks really blue right now, but it's not. As you can see, everything's pretty much covered up, and the paint did its job of making sure that nothing was super noticeable. The closer you look at it, the more noticeable it's going to be, of course. However, there's no need to make it completely perfect unless you're just a super perfectionist, in which case, by all means, make it perfect. Again, I will be linking this particular helmet down in the description. I got it off of Amazon, like I said, for I think $30 to $40, so it's not too extremely priced. You can absolutely make one with foam if you would like to. I considered that option myself, but decided this was going to be the easier option, more expensive, but easier. One thing that somehow did not stay in the video, I don't know why, because I intended for it to, but it didn't. I did purchase some little plastic paper. They're actually right here. Wow, let me just... So these little dudes, as you can see, they're pretty much transparent. However, the more you add, the more silvery it gets. So what I intended to do with these was put them on the inside of the visor, but when it came down to it, I just couldn't be bothered. So if you do end up doing that, I think I got these at Hobby Lobby in the wedding section, probably. I think they were like a couple bucks for the packet, so it's not very expensive. If you want to go that route, please let me know how it turns out and what your secrets are, because I just couldn't be bothered. The fact that the visor is already blue, however, did kind of influence that decision a little bit, because since it's not completely clear, I mean, it's shaded to some degree, I guess, is the words that I'm looking for to come out of my mouth. Also in the description, be sure to check out the main video that at the time of recording this is not up yet, but it will be eventually. When it is up, that link will be in the description down below. Be sure to go check that out so you can see the pretty much general walkthrough of the costume and how I made that and all of that stuff. That video will also contain links to the rest of the videos to get the more detailed versions on certain parts of the costume. All that will be explained a little bit better in the main video as well, so do be sure to go check it out as soon as it... If it's not already in the description, then you should probably go ahead and subscribe so that you can keep an eye out for when it is in the description. That being said, I hope this video was helpful for you. I think that's all I have for you guys today. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to share this video, feel free to. I'm not opposed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.